Welcome to EPSMomentum. The first thing you get when you get EPSMomentum is the ability to get an email every day for any of the best stocks that the system has found, the open trades, last reporting, any of those lists to your email. You just need to click here. If you don't have that box, you need to subscribe to either the monthly or the yearly, and you'll get the notification every day. That email will look like this. So it'll be very useful to spot right from your email every day what are all those searches producing as a result. The second thing you'll get is if you are getting if you're subscribing to the annual, you will get access to our private Discord channel where we all chat during the day about what's happening in the market and the interesting stocks. So that will be super useful to you as well. Okay, let's get started. You just type a ticker in the top box, let's say AMD, and you get all the AMD data coming into all the widgets and the charts and so on. So first off, the first two widgets, it's the core of EPSMomentum. It's the model and the strategy. So the strategy is about earning and sales momentum. You get a definition of the EM score. It has to be above 20 to be in the best condition. 0 to 20 is kind of good, but above 20 is best. And here it is, and we can see going back in history, when it starts to be above 20, then you have the rally 26 and then up and up and up, right? The second thing is you have to have the timing on your side. So timing momentum, timing bias, market score, all three of them, all three arrows here has to be they have to be up and then green, and that would tell you when to actually start really looking at the stock. So in order for us to record the performance, we have the journal who actually initiates a trade 3 days after the beginning of earnings, only if those two conditions are met. Those two green flags are there, right? And it did that over history, and that's a buy signal. On the sell signal, it's going to be a trailing stop placed at 7% initially, and then you get kicked out. The performance is 152%, and you can see the performance of the strategy overall. And there's two of the strategies, the fixed stop and the adaptive stop. Obviously, the P&L is way different, 900%, and adaptive stop, 83%. So you can use any of those three strategies to even look into a stock and see if it's if that model has been working over time on that specific company. You can look at all the best trades here in that button. You can look at all the best stocks here, and that will be pulled off from the screener, which will be very useful. Now let's carry on with the analysis of the stock. Once we've seen those two widgets, we can look at the profile of the actual stock. What is the company doing? We can look at the filings. We can look at the various transcripts or the conferences. We can read the transcript. Completely full transcript and audio as well, so that is very useful. You can also activate the financial widget, which is this one, where you can see the overall balance sheet, income statement, and cash flow summary, both free cash flow and free cash flow growth for the company. Very quick visual aid, lets you see if it's improving or not on a quarterly or yearly basis. But if you really want to drill down, you drill down into the numbers. You have the full financials, 10 years, goes 10 year back, or it's actually 5 year back, but it's much more quarters. So you can look into the actual numbers if you're interested. We carry on, and this time we want to look at the matrix, the actual earnings per share and sales, and the growth and acceleration. The important thing is you can get all these values in the screener and search for companies that have accelerated EPS growth or very high EPS growth. These are non-GAAP numbers, which is the numbers you want to analyze, not the GAAP ones. So it's really what Wall Street is looking into whenever they look at a company. So that is super high quality numbers. And that's very useful. At the same time, you have the revisions. There are two sets of data. One set is the revision score, RS, from Zacks, and the other one is a completely different data set with different set of analysts. There's 33 analysts here and 31 here for both revision score for earning per share and sales. And you can see the RS data. This is taking the current quarter, next quarter, current year, giving it a score, and you can see on the chart how it looks like, pretty much going up. But if I turn on the other data set, I have more granularity. I see the earning per share. So let's have a look at RS2 data. It looks like it's going up. It looks all green everywhere, but I can switch to sales as well. Sales was down, but then up. So if we go back to the summary, we can see the curves all pointing upward. So it's all in good shape for that specific stock. Very important widget here. As we progress towards the other widgets, we can look at the drift, post-earning announcement drift. So the drift is extremely powerful. It takes all of the last quarters that are in that configuration, drift C. Drift C is based on the change overnight and the change during the day after earnings. So this is negative and positive, so negative and positive. Overall, it's 7 quarters out of 39. We have quite a very poor accuracy on this one because accuracy starts really after 5 or 6 quarter. So here it's kind of 0, but you can look into the accuracy in history. So drift C was out for the first time and out here. So it's kind of difficult to predict in drift C because we don't have enough statistics here. However, should it be in drift A, you would have 85% accuracy and 100% in drift B over 7 over 39 and 90% 14 over 39 on drift D. What does it tell you? Where the stock is going, pretty much. It gives you the range in which prices are going, and the stock is going between those two values, max, min, and mean prices. So extremely useful for your analysis if you trade the stock or options. We carry on with the price earning ratio. We have our own PE ratio, which is a cashback PE. It takes into account all the earnings you're going to get from the earning per share going forward in year 1, 2, 3, all the way to year 30, and tells you in how many years you get your money back if you decide to invest in that stock, which is $154. So it'll take you 11 years to get $154. Not a P of 74 or 68 forward P. It's a P of 11. So it looks like a very cheap stock compared to its actual earnings. So if you look at history, we started to record history a few months ago. So this is where we're seeing the PE compared to where the PE has been over 80 or 100, right? Which would just make you avoid the stock altogether. So very useful here. Have a look, click on that video to get more information. Let's carry on with more. What you can see is the holders. So hedge funds in red here are aggressive growth funds investing in the stock, or the growth funds, or the passive or value fund, or the index funds getting into the stock or not. You can see the growth. That value is very important. It means institutional buy-in. So that will be very useful for you to have a look at and to take into your analysis. So again, very useful. Mostly stocks are always used with options as well. So if you trade options, this will be really invaluable. Click on that video to have a little bit more detail. We tend to make it very simple. I know the chart looks very overwhelming, but it's not. So this is the skew. So it's the shape of the slope between the put and the calls. So the puts are more expensive or not than the calls, and you can see it here as the red line. So the skew. Let me just remove this as the skew is going down. So it's getting cheaper. The skew is in 66 percentile, so still expensive on the historical standpoint. But so it's here, it's up there, but still in the last 3 months, it's been going down, and lately shooting up, which is a bad sign. So that's a bearish sign. If you look at the slope is up. And the bands are here to tell you where the slope of the bands are, and tells you that it's kind of not a good one, right? It's going into the red territory, so it is bearish. You can do that on the 60-day, 90-day, or 10-day volatility point on the curve. So this is extremely powerful, and you can search on the screener for all these values to help you identify which one is best. Also, the implied vol and a historical vol here on a historical basis at the same time with price. So extremely useful to see if you need to buy or sell options. Again, very useful if you want to have options coupled with your stock strategy. Then we can go into the dollar flow. So let's click on dollar flow here, and then you can see the flow of dollar in the stock in green. So see where there is a huge pressure up. So that is the beginning of a bull market or rally. And then the dollar flow kind of dries up, right? Then it starts beginning to be positive again, and that's pushing the stock up all the way up. And now it's kind of drying up as well. So you see the pressure in prices, and it helps you really time your investment and see if there's flow going to the stock. So very useful. And again, you can search on the screener for that. So, you know, that should be something that you should add to your search criteria. At the same time, we look at sectors. So sectors is a full screen widget, but you can also put it half screen by just grabbing this and putting it on the side. So here I can monitor all 10 sectors, spider sectors. So XLY, XLB for material, XLP, XLF for financial, XLV, and so on. You can go 12 months, 3 months, 15 days, and you can see where the price action has been. So here it looks like they're all down, but you can also do the ratio to the S&P, which is very useful. So not everyone is down. I mean, everyone is down, but not everyone is as down as the S&P. For example, XLV and XLU are up compared to the S&P. So that's important to see. The price slope as well that I mentioned earlier is something very useful. It tells you where the slope is going. The skew slope that we just saw with implied vol. So for example, higher implied volatility here on XLY, a lower one on XLE, and the dollar float that we just saw as well tells you if it's above 0 or below 0 with the 0 line here. At the same time, you can compare everything into one chart. You can see normalized chart at every time you move your arrow here, really telling you. So if I go back to ratio SPY, it tells you which one rallies in the last few days or for the past 15 days. So again, very useful to see this information to look at every specific sector. Once you've done that, let's go into the screener, which is really the crux of the system, helping you find great stocks. So let's remove the sector widget, go back to signal and journal, and let's use those buttons. Open trades, best stocks, last reporting. Those are all master lists that or screeners that we've put together, pre-canned searches that we put together. You can click on best stocks, and then what it does, it goes to the screener and select for you 5 or 6 or 7 criteria that are all pre-selected and set into what could be the best stocks right now. Best EM above 20, TM above 0, MS above 0, and so on. And TM bias, you can change it all the way you want. And here I'm down to 24 stocks. And then you can carry on with way more filters. You go into the filters, you go into the matrix, and let's say you want stocks that accelerated in earning per share in the last quarter. You want stocks that have good financials, low debt to common equity, for example, so below 100. You can get revisions, very high positive revisions for the quarter since the beginning of the quarter. You can look at the drift. Let's say you want to select a drift that is going up or an important drift. So pick the drift name. You say you want positive underreaction, for example, and you carry on. You want to look into price statistics or volume statistics, whether the volume is up for the past 10 days or the ratio to the S&P, or you want to go to the volatility. You want to see if the volatility ratio is up or down, or a very abnormal ratio, let's say greater than 1.15. And now you're down to only a few names, and you can click into a name and then screen. You see that this name has mostly some greens here, a 32. The strategy has been successful, 66% here, 79%. The last trade was entered on the 1st of February 2021 at $69. It is now 143. So yeah, a good return there. So again, very useful information. Okay, so I hope you'll find it useful. Go over all the widgets, go over the screener. There's many things that you can search and look for. It helps you pick stocks in a very efficient way. You can also load everything up into a monitor. Just click on the monitor here and then pick your stocks, enter your stocks that you want to track, and you can pair that monitor to next to a chart and then click very quickly from one ticker to the next, and it will flick from one value to the next. Very useful. Thank you for your attention, and I hope you'll enjoy EPS Momentum.